the Deputy Speaker of the Parliament of Uganda, the Speaker of Yala, Cabinet Ministers here present, Members of Parliament, and also to mention the Mashariki Fest of my good friend Tendo, who was very key in coordinating and midwifing my presence here this afternoon. Let me say that I am honored and privileged to be asked to share my thoughts with you on the subject, the role of parliamentarians in the integration process. When one is asked to deliver a keynote speech of this kind, particularly in the presence of His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, who is an East African, as he'll have occasion to tell you, one can be pretty reticent, but I'll not allow myself to be. I will allow myself to share my thoughts by way of going back to the past, but without repeating some of the nostalgic moments that were so very ably articulated by my good friend, the Right Honorable Amanya Mushega. But yet, in the context of what is happening now, it is important to remind ourselves that when we are talking about integration as we are now, we are talking about integration of the post-colonial era. And many will remember that the countries that we so cherish today are the products of a very harsh reality of European powers in 1884 and 1885, which means that the boundaries that we are so fond of are artificial boundaries. And their artificiality has been articulated by the testimonies we have heard from members of Parliament who live on the borders of our countries. And it is instructive that even as we were reclaiming our independence, some of the founding fathers of the African nation were very conscious that if Africa, and indeed East Africa, were to thrive, then it was necessary that we act as one. We will remember the very well publicized desire by the late President of Tanzania, Mwalimu Kambarage Nyerere, that the independence of Tanzania or Tanganyika then be delayed so that Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania would regain their independence as one country. Those were, in my view, the embryonic stages of the desire for an integrated East Africa. You will also remember beyond the continent of Africa, the conference of the Organization of African Unity in 1963 in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, and the subsequent conference in Cairo in 1964, where the doctrine of the inviolability of inherited boundaries was embraced in the hope that we would integrate and that those boundaries will merely become administrative boundaries.